Yeah, we're still going.
Oh, damn it.
Welcome, everyone. This will be part 2. We just got done talking Marvel Phase 1, and we brought Kevin on. So we'll be reviewing the X-Men films, which are not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because Fox ain't giving up that license.
Greedy bastards.
So we'll be discussing the three, the original trilogy, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and X-Men First Class, and some speculation about X-Men Days of Future Past. So, we'll start at the beginning.
Oh, sorry. It's 714. Me? 4.
Is that who? Where's that voice coming from?
Oh, wait. It's a guy ordering food.
Oh,
okay. So, X-Men was a comic that was in development hell for many years. Richard Donner was attached at one point. James Cameron was attached at one point.
It's
Billy Scott. Joss Whedon. So eventually they got Bryan Singer, who basically all he did was he did At Pupil and Usual Suspects. So yeah, that was basically it. Getting an echo. Getting an echo. So basically what happened was they made... Is there any way you could shut the echo off? I can hear myself.
I don't know. So it's like sometimes it does the echo and sometimes it doesn't. It's weird.
Yeah, because it's doing it for you, not for you. It's doing it for me.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So X-Men came out in 2000, and it was really the first well-known franchise to get a comic book movie. I mean, Blade came out, but Blade wasn't a well-known character.
Blade lived and died with Wesley Snipes, pretty much.
And so X-Men came out, and who wants to go first?
I will. I'm a huge X-Men person. In terms of comic properties, X-Men as a core concept is my favorite because I've always liked. I mean, just obviously the team aspect of it and all these people coming together, but also the fact that they're superheroes and they have superpowers, but they weren't created through genetic experiments or other things. Like they were born with
accidents.
Powers. Like these powers like define them and like who they are, and I mean the comic also has none too subtle allegory for some social issues and anxieties, stuff about being outsiders. But I think that's one of the things that really appeals to me and most other readers is that it has that
And a lot of
subtext.
characters. A lot of characters, too.
And not only a lot of characters, but a lot of memorable characters and characters that are pretty interesting. Obviously, being a lone movie, not all of them are going to get, the development maybe you want, but I think for the most part, this first movie does a pretty good job of introducing all the major players and giving a bunch of them just enough development to care about what's going... Because, they give development to the ones that are the focus of the story, basically.
All 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, but you got Magneto also.
Yeah, Magneto and Wolverine.
And then, yeah.
I feel it's mostly Wolverine and Rogue that they...
Actually, yeah, Rogue.
But that's one of the things that... The way Rogue was portrayed in the first movie, some people didn't like it because she wasn't that southern. She wasn't that southern Spitfire that you'd expect out of Rogue. But I think the way they portrayed her in this one, pretty much being like all these other mutants that seem mostly content with their powers, but she's the one that really just hates her power and
for a good reason.
Yeah. And I think it works really well given the context of how horrible her power is and how alienating it is. I mean, being a mutant itself in this world is already pretty alienating. Not being able to just touch anybody, that's got to be torture to go through all your life. And I think that because in the comics and the animated series, it's more Wolverine and Jubilee, and I think they did a...
And Rogue's a much more interesting character.
Exactly. I think it was a much smarter choice to... I mean, you have Wolverine here, who's, Wolverine is the poster child, pretty much, for X-Men. Like, he's the big selling point. But then you also have this other character who gives it more of an emotional grounding in the story. It's good.
I'll go next. I like the first X-Men movie, but the problem is, compared to X2, it's like a blueprint. It's like it sets up the groundwork, it follows the continuity, but it doesn't break any new ground for me. I mean, mostly because I think the TV show was so ahead of its time as far as adapting direct source material and giving its characters enough to do. Like this one thing I have issue with this movie, the series in general, is the overfocus of Wolverine. I mean, that's, X2 it works because they have Weapon X.
Yeah, it's about.
So you have to. But Wolverine gets a little too much focus for me in the first one. Then it gets really ugly in 3. But as far as this one goes, it doesn't bother me as much because really I consider the first one more of a Magneto film than a Wolverine film.
But that introduction in the bar is so awesome.
That bar fight is awesome. It's just like for me, Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men.
Yeah.
And he gets the shaft in these movies. Even the Professor gets the shaft in these movies. It's basically Wolverine, Magneto, and Rogue for this one movie. Magneto really is the focal point because really the film's about him. And perfect casting. Although I would have been curious to see Rutger Hauer play the part. I thought he would have been awesome.
I mean, it's really perfect casting for him and Xavier. I mean,
well, that was the main choice.
I mean, it's like if you got anybody other than Patrick Stewart.
I mean, there was the idea of maybe Ben Kingsley. That was the other option that was thrown out. But as far as X-Men, it's good. It's one of the better comic book movies. This is not one of the best. Mostly because some characters like Cyclops, Storm doesn't get much to do in this one, rightfully so.
Rightfully so.
Jean doesn't get that much in this one.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the Brotherhood, they're just thugs.
Yeah, I mean, I think even though they're just, I think Mystique and Toad are fun thugs. I think Sabretooth, he's just a guy who growls a lot. You know, he just snarls. And he just walks around hitting people, and that's kind of it. But I think
not talking.
Yeah. He gets a couple of really terrible lines at some points. I thought, even though it's not much, I thought Ray Park added a little bit of humor to Toad, which kind of made it, there was like a couple parts where like he's joking at Sabretooth, and it's kind of funny. And then there's that. I know it's really ham-fisted.
That's why I'm laughing.
I know it's really ham-fisted, but there's the part when he kicks up the metal pole and twirls it around and
the Darth Maul.
The Darth Maul pose, yeah.
No, I was gonna say, do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? There's some bad writing in this movie. It does feel very 70s comic book-esque. But luckily they did change the costumes. Thank God.
I think it's definitely a good movie. And I watch it consistently, pretty much. Although it does have the feeling of, after it does like a great job of the world building, great job of introducing the main mutants in the story, it sort of devolves into it's still good, but it feels more like a good extended
pilot
plot from what the show would be. It's like introduce the X-Men, introduce the world, and then have Magneto have a super weapon.
And have a big climax at the end, which is really good. I like the climax a lot.
Yeah. I thought X-Men was good for what it was. I mean, there were some things I didn't like. What it didn't give for me was something to care about in the whole Wolverine Sabretooth rivalry. I know it's there, but the way they play it out, I didn't really like as much.
It's only there because they're animals.
It's fan service.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't care too much for the writing. And the directing was good, though. But I mean, I like that they did a focus on Rogue, Wolverine, and Magneto, and Xavier more, instead of some of the side characters that get bigger as it progresses in the sequels. But I mean, it's a film I'll rewatch, but it's not one of my top favorite comic book movies of all time.
Actually, even though even though Cyclops doesn't get much to do in the movie, he is the backbone for my favorite scene in the movie when Wolverine goes off to fight Mystique in that one part, and then he comes back and they think he might be a Mystique in disguise. He's like, wait, it's me. Cyclops, prove it. You're a dick.
Okay.
Okay.
Bruce Davidson.
But, oh yeah, and I think, obviously, McKellen, Patrick Stewart, and of course Hugh Jackman and Anna Paquin are great. But I think Bruce Davidson does a pretty good job as kind of like he's not the main villain. He's not Magneto, but Senator Kelly he's a character that needs to be there to really establish the whole human mutant animosity, and goes out in not the most pleasant of ways, but I thought
Best special effect in the movie.
that was a pretty good special effect, and I mean, for someone who's not like a big danger to the X-Men, but who's still very much someone you just kind of want to die. he does a really good job, especially towards the middle of the movie where he becomes less of that fear-monger. Anything else you'd like to say, Kevin?
I mean, it's a good movie. What else can I say?
It pretty much boils down the first X-Men. It's like, it's good. It's not great, but it's good. It's fun.
It's like I can say it's the third best of the series thus far.
Yeah, that's not saying much. That's like saying it's not as good as the absolute amazing top two, and it's not as absolutely horrible as the other two.
It balances out. It has a lot of bad and a lot of good, I think.
It's like
No, but I can't say it's a bad film. It's just it's good. It's just I don't think there's anything bad in it. It's just I was wanting more.
It's the only X-Men movie that's not holy shit that was great or oh my god what the hell did I just watch.
I go 3 out of 4.
Going for some agreement again. I think there's gonna be a lot of agreement on this one too. 3 out of 4 also.
Gavin?
What would you say?
Yo. Alright. X2. What can I say? It's my
Rating.
favorite of the series.
Wait. What was your rating for the first movie?
Oh, my rating?
Yeah.
2.5 out of 4.
2.5?
Yeah.
And you give me shit for giving that to Spider-Man.
Hey, the first Spider-Man was amazing.
Amazingly generic and dated.
Alright, outside the Green Goblin costume, that was an amazing movie.
Kirsten Dunst is terrible.
Has she been in anything good?
Jumanji. Shadow of the Vampire. Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, that's about it.
It's weird. When I was 5 years ago, if you asked me, I would have said I like Spider-Man more, but kind of like the first X-Men a little more now.
I think X-Men's a better movie.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so now on to the X-Men movie we really wanted and really were waiting for, X-Men United. And
Let Kevin go.
okay, he seems like he's getting ready to go on.
He hates us, I swear to God.
We're giving you the floor here.
Oh, X2?
Yep.
Alright. X2, amazing story. I really dug the hell out of Nightcrawler, especially because Alan Cumming was amazing. I could say it's my favorite out of the series.
Yep.
There's some minor nitpicks that I don't want to get into, but overall, I found barely any flaws. I really like how they fleshed out more of the supporting characters and admit the main character for the first one. Just beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. I think what it does a great job of, it even though it does, once again, gives Cyclops the shaft and also Storm the shaft, it does a great job because even though they're still just, they're just kind of there, it does a great job of introducing new characters, just the right amount of new characters, and giving them enough screen time to either stand out as memorable characters, or in one case, stand out as a weapon of belated mass destruction, in the case of Deathstrike. Which, also, I don't want to keep saying that my favorite moments are Wolverine moments, but it's true. My favorite moment in this one is when he's about to fight her, and then he's like, he shoots out his claws, and then she's like, with her finger claws, and he's like, holy shit. And then she just jumps through the air like a spinning, like, bladed top, and is just, like, cutting him to shreds. I'm just like, God damn it. Like, who is this woman? Fantastic opening sequence with Nightcrawler.
Yes.
I would say that's actually, out of all the action scenes in all 5 movies, that one's probably my favorite.
I like the Wolverine destroying the mansion.
That's pretty great.
Killing everybody.
I think the reason why it's, because there's that one awesome moment where he jumps off the staircase like, and it hits the guys behind him, and then like that. I would say the Nightcrawler scene is my favorite because I think because of his, it's a great example of Bryan Singer and the writers Zach Penn and Michael Dougherty using the mutant's power in action scenes in really creative ways and in ways we've never really seen before. I mean, there's just like single shots where like he kicks a guy like in the face and disappears, and then suddenly he's behind another guy and just like kicks another one, like, and there's no cut. It's just like single shot, just like boom right there, boom right there, boom right there. It takes out 3 guys, and you're like, holy crap! Like, I've never seen something ever like this in a movie before. And Brian Cox, he plays plays a mean motherfucker in this movie. In which case, I'll give the floor to you.
Okay, the first one, you get 2 sides. You get Magneto, you get Professor.
Mm-hmm.
Stryker creates a third one because he's the antithesis of Magneto in the sense that he wants to completely wipe out mutants,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't want to work with humans, vice versa, like the Professor does. So he creates that third triangle.
He's Senator Kelly if Senator Kelly had brute force behind him.
Yeah, and
Taken to the extreme.
I love Brian Cox in this movie. He's probably the best villain out of the 5 movies.
Because once the metal cools,
It's indestructible.
it's indestructible.
This is the only one where Wolverine's emphasis doesn't bother me because you can't do Weapon X
Yeah.
and not have Wolverine be the
Yeah.
focal point.
Exactly.
And my favorite scene in the movie is just a really short one when they're on the plane and Magneto looks at Rogue and goes, I love what you did to your hair. She checks up the glove like she's about to...
Actually, okay. That Wolverine bit, that's my favorite line, but it's not my favorite scene in the movie.
I'm trying to think. You got Nightcrawler. I was surprised that Pyro was actually handled much better than I thought he would be.
I was actually just going to say that's what I was going to change. My favorite scene in the movie is when Pyro goes crazy on the cops.
Wasted in 3.
Because it's the first time, or one of the first times, where you really see a mutant who, he's on the good side, and you think like, oh, he's with the Professor and the X-Men, like, he's not like Magneto, like, he's not like those extremists.
Well, no, apparently
mutants.
according to X-Men 3, he's on the same power level as Magneto.
Yeah. But it's the first
Fucking
time
Ratner.
where you really you understand why the humans fear them, because even like a mutant that you would think is good or you think wouldn't harm you can just turn on you given the circumstances. And thought does a great job of not just presenting all non-Brotherhood mutants as not just all good.
As much as I love this movie, I do have one major nitpick. I don't like the way Iceman is used. That is not Iceman. That is a pussy trying to pretend to be Iceman. Sorry, that is not Iceman. Iceman is supposed to be a jokey, smartass.
Yeah.
And I think the actor's fine. It's just he mopes around through most of the movie. And I've never cared for the love triangle between Rogue, Wolverine, and Iceman. This one, it's okay.
You really think it's a love triangle? Personally, I don't think Wolverine is trying to get with Rogue.
All right, I just say I hate the triangle between Cyclops, Jean, and Wolverine.
Okay.
I don't like that.
I can agree. Well, I can agree with that because Cyclops barely gets a word edgewise. It's like, it's like in theory it's a love triangle, but it's like really it's like Cyclops just can't get his side of the story into this.
I think talked about the action. It does what Spider-Man 2 does. It takes everything from the first one and builds upon it.
Yeah.
And everything's improved. 4 out of 4.
Also does a great job of hinting at further story developments of what's to come without it be. It's not like it
trying to contain my rage.
They don't feel like awkward insertions. Like they really feel like
part of the story.
They're subtly woven into the story in regards to the Phoenix stuff. What say you?
My rating, 4 out of 4.
Unanimous.
It's near perfect.
Unanimous.
I barely have any problems with it.
Okay, I'll take this one.
Which is the opposite of
I'll take this one, you take the next one.
Okay.
Because the next one you seem to be more passionate, and this one I am. So, Bryan Singer decides to leave, and he ruins 2 comic book movies at the same time. He ruins X-Men 3 for leaving and taking his writers with him and taking some actors with him. And then he single-handedly ruined Superman 3 by making this an ungodly piece of shit, which is worse than X3 and Wolverine. So we got X-Men 3 The Last Stand, directed by Brett Ratner.
Why? Who chooses Brett Ratner to make...
He ruins everything that he gets his friggin' hands on. Okay. This is not the worst superhero movie ever made,
No.
but it's the most disappointing.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
It's tied with Spider-Man 3, because Spider-Man 3 is actually a good movie. Mm-hmm. Well, it's okay. There's more that I like in it than I don't like.
Yeah. This
is an ungodly piece of shit. Like, we sat down to watch this about a week ago, and I could not believe how bad it was. This movie shows everything that's wrong with Ratner's direction. Models being out of place, and the worst continuity error in the history of film. Kevin, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think so.
The night to or the day to night part of
Magneto moves the bridge.
Yeah. It's like, it moves the bridge, bright sunlight, and then they walk to the end of the bridge.
What frustrates me is that Matthew Vaughn was supposed to direct this.
Damn it.
Then his wife got pregnant and he had to drop out. His one lone stamp was that he cast Kelsey Grammer in the role as Beast.
And
Vinnie Jones.
And Vinnie Jones.
Which...
is a mixed blessing.
So, basically, this movie is a shit wagon on wheels. This movie stinks. Where do I start?
Well, start with the fact that there's so much potential in it.
You got Dark Phoenix and you got a Cure storyline.
Both storylines that are
could hold their own movie.
Gold mines for an X-Men movie.
But first of all, it's an hour and 40 minutes, and the climax takes up a half hour.
It's exactly the length of the first movie, and it has about 10 times as much stuff going on inside it. You got the Phoenix stuff, you got the Cure stuff, but then they're also trying to put in, they don't even try. They just put him in there just because. They just Angel's just in there because I don't know why, really.
Fan service again.
There's a whole thing with Rogue and whether she should take the Cure,
which completely reverts her character arc in the last 2 movies.
Which not only barely gets any attention to it, but then you said that the love triangle between Wolverine, Jean, and Cyclops was iffy. I think got nothing on the corny and absolutely cringeworthy stuff with Rogue, Bobby, and
Iceman.
Kitty. It's
the biggest issue with this movie is that you can't do Dark Phoenix and do a Magneto story in the same movie.
Oh, that's right. And you also have Magneto in here too.
First of all, the Dark Phoenix thing is completely fucking stupid in this movie because it's an alternate personality that the professor suppressed to keep the world safe. So by her seeking revenge, this makes the professor responsible for every death that occurs in this movie. Speaking of deaths, Bryan Singer, why did you have to take cast members? Why kill off Cyclops for virtually no reason? So early in the movie.
Yeah.
And then the biggest sin is killing the professor halfway through the movie, which, I'm sorry, that totally takes me out of the movie. It's like, I don't care about anything else that happens after that.
That was just done purely for shock value.
And it doesn't work. Especially because Magneto, you think after seeing his best friend and the guy he was trying to convince die, he would have changed his plans or done something different. But nope, he just continues with how it is.
He wouldn't have hung around the super weapon that just killed his best
Exactly.
friend.
What else do I hate about this movie?
I did not like the Iceman and Pyro fight. Like,
I wish Pyro killed Iceman.
Wait, the fight? You mean the Goblet of Fire duel of fire and ice?
yeah.
I mean, that was only in there just so you could have that fan service moment where Bobby becomes full Iceman, and that's.
And Colossus comes out of nowhere. He gets no lines.
See, it's weird because like Colossus was one of those mutants in X-Men 2 that you wanted to see more of, and they do give him more screen time, but like he's not actually really doing anything except punching and being metal all the time.
And of course, that one Juggernaut line.
Oh.
I don't want to say it because it angers me so much. I don't care if it's fan service. It doesn't fit in this continuity, in this very serious continuity.
One of my favorite lines from the movie is, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch."
No,
That's what I was talking about.
That's what he was talking about, Kevin.
I did not know. I love that line.
No.
You love that line?
No.
I find it so corny and funny.
But it doesn't fit.
It's so stupid.
It's this.
I know.
I don't care if it's
so
fan
funny.
service. It doesn't belong in a serious movie. It's
like
like, I'm sorry, you kill off the professor and then you give Juggernaut one-liners. It doesn't.
It's like
It was a joke.
But it's not funny.
it's not funny though. It's so painfully done. I mean, and it's like, I mean, Vinnie Jones ain't exactly a great actor, but I don't think Vinnie Jones was that bad in the movie until that one line comes.
This has some of the worst writing of any. Like, all of a sudden, Professor X is telling Storm to take over the X-Men. It's like, why?
Oh, and there's that really, really corny line where he's like, even, how they cut it out, even you can...
Oh, you can see
someone like you can know when the weather changes or something like that. Like,
You got the whole... Oh, God. The hell else can it's just... I hate this movie. I hate this movie. For some reasons, I can't even explain. Like...
It's trying to race through so many things and not giving anything the time and handling a lot of things badly. Like, let's just go back to the fact that the intro scene where they introduce you to Angel, great scene, and pretty creepy too. When he's cutting off his wings as a young boy and it's all bloody. That's a great and disturbing scene. After that scene, he ain't got diddly squat to do in it except have a cool moment where he opens his wings and then he saves his dad in the end, and that's it. That's all he does.
And you got
He has
that
no
end
character.
fight scene at the end is totally weak. And I'm sorry, how the hell does healing factor counteract the power of the Phoenix? Especially if it killed the professor, I'm damn sure it could kill Wolverine. I don't care about... I'm sorry, he's got a healing factor. That doesn't make him invincible. And instead, why is he kill her instead of stabbing her with the needle? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Don't say that would have disintegrated, because obviously she wasn't paying attention to that. God. Fuck this movie.
I did not like the ending either. Like, when they visit the Grey, I was just like, it's too sappy. It's annoying.
Wait, with Magneto?
No, not the thing when Magneto's playing chess, but when they go to Xavier's grave.
Yeah. Well, there's that one there's a pull away shot where Wolverine's on the. It's they're doing the funeral, but Wolverine's watching from the ledge. But then they do this pan up shot. I don't know.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, it feels. It's just.
Sorry for cursing. I hate this movie with a passion.
Is generic is the key term.
It's schlocky. And then you get the whole scene where they go to Jean Grey's house for the second time. Magneto specifically tells Juggernaut, don't let them inside. What's the first thing Juggernaut does? He throws Wolverine into the house. And then after the house gets lifted up, the chairs are all perfectly in place. The tables are fine. There's no attention to detail at all. And then you got all this other fucking fan service. They throw Sentinels in. They throw Trask in. They throw all this other shit. They get rid of Mystique for no reason.
It's they keep trying to make it feel like it's the epic third conclusion because we're gonna kill off character or not kill them off but take them out of the movie and nobody's safe but it feels more like shock than genuine build up and payoff. Well, and then there's of course the Magneto stuff and the post credits scene which even worse. I mean.
I don't even know what else to say. It's just, it's terrible. 1 out of 4.
1.5.
1 out of 4.
I say.
It's something grade A shit.
Now, I hate it more than the next movie, but that's for different reasons. Go ahead, unleash.
Okay.
I know you've been waiting for this.
Okay, yeah. Last Stand. It's pretty hard.
Pretty hard.
It's pretty hard. And after that, you think, can it get worse?
No.
Can it? So we get to Wolverine, the origin movie. What'd you think? Okay. We've already seen his origin, but I like Hugh Jackman. I like Wolverine. It could be at least entertaining.
Schreiber.
You got Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. It's already a step up from Tyler Mane.
Danny Houston is a really good actor.
And Danny Houston he's no Brian Cox, but he was a good choice for Stryker. And how do I describe this? I think it's best described as one review I saw put it. It's a Steven Seagal movie with mutants. It's generic. You see what I'm getting at here, Kevin?
Yeah.
It's generic action movie with there's no action moments that stand out. It's only just stuff you've seen in every other action movie. It's just get in a car chase, throw a minigun in the car chase, and then we're gonna have explosions, and then he's gonna walk away from the explosion like a badass, which is that's so terrible. I mean, and here's the thing: with most of these bad superhero movies, even the recent ones, the action is still usually decent or even really good. The action isn't even good in this movie. There's no rhythm to it. There's just the editing is just all over the place. There's 3 different scenes where Sabretooth and Wolverine are running at each other and just
it's the same fight scene
and just slam into each other. It's just it doesn't have any there's no momentum or really some kind of choreographed movement that you can follow in a smooth fashion. It's just kind of it's just noise, really, is what it feels like. It's like Gavin Hood, it's like he filmed all the cool stuff, all the impacts, all the hits and stuff, but he doesn't find that through line that makes it really engaging. Which, speaking of lack of through lines, also it's similar to Last Stand. His plot is also all over the place too. You have the introduction scene, which, fair enough, cool scene. You realize that Wolverine is much older than he would seem. He's born in the 1800s, and Does he kill his? Is it his stepdad?
He kills his actual father.
Oh, okay, it's his actual. I wasn't really clear on that actually. And
I had to double check.
and then him and Sabretooth, they run away, and there's a neat there's a neat montage, which is arguably the best part of the movie, where they're fighting through all the wars together.
For some reason, they're fighting for America, even though they're Canadian.
Yeah, and then he gets to the stuff where it's like, and then all of a sudden, he's with oh no, he's not with them yet, but then all of a sudden, and then you learn that he was in the military with Stryker, and Stryker convinces him, to come back for that one mission,
The one last mission.
And then they go through this action scene, which would be unremarkable if it were not for the enjoyable presence of Ryan Reynolds as Wade Wilson. But I thought you liked him. As in that 2-minute bit, what he had the humor, the sarcastic tone, the martial arts.
I see Ryan Reynolds. I see Ryan Reynolds. He's playing the same fucking character from Blade Trinity.
Well,
And when I say character, I mean he's playing himself.
Deadpool isn't that far from what Ryan Reynolds.
No, it's not.
was.
But find an actor who I don't say that's the actor.
Okay, compared to everything else in the movie, he was one.
He is nowhere near the best part of this movie.
I'm not saying he's the best part. I'm saying
The only casting I like is Schreiber. Houston. Houston's
But-
fine. It's just he's not given anything.
But then after that one action scene, all of a sudden Wolverine's like, I can't do this. Like, this just, it isn't for me. We're killing, innocent people and stuff. And it's like, okay, that was fast. Like, you were on the team and then you're done. And then, like any Schwarzenegger or Seagal movie, he's off in the woods as a lumberjack with his wife, And then, of course, and then he goes on another one last mission to stop Sabretooth, which turns out to be a whole ploy where it's just, like any other Steven Seagal movie, wife gets kidnapped. I'm telling you, it is. It's so generic.
Oh, it is.
It's like, wife gets kidnapped, he has to save the wife. It's just like, he's got to go through all these, gangsters and military men, And then and then you just throw in another mutant every now and then. A new mutant in every scene.
We're going to take a character from the comics and throw him randomly into the movie.
Alright, speaking of which, I really hated their use of Gambit.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow.
That just killed that movie for me. I couldn't.
There's no need.
I don't know, not only is Gambit not done well in the movie at all, but he's also one of the more blatant, just
Fan service.
not just fan service, but plot devices, because there's
He's the one who escaped Weapon X.
There's at least 2 occasions where he runs off somewhere else, and then during an action scene when Wolverine's being beaten down, he magically pops out of nowhere to save the day in the end. Twice. They do that twice. Occasion.
So this movie had terrible casting in terms of his team in the military with Will I Am. I just can't.
I know you have the one.
I like Kevin Durant as Blob. I honestly do.
Yeah, but
That scene was fine because that felt like actual Wolverine. Like he has funny quips.
Bub.
Yeah, he says Bub.
Yeah.
Finally.
Although Durant and Jackman have to go up against a black eyed pea.
Playing a robot.
he shouldn't be doing anything. Not even music.
I like the Black Eyed Peas.
And I think I like the Black Eyed Peas, but
Why him?
But why Will.i.am ain't an actor?
Oh, and my favorite thing in the movie is when he goes to live with Clark Kent's parents.
Oh yeah. No. Also, another thing that lasts for 5 minutes in the movie. It's like the movie can't stick with
one spot
to a scene. Like it keeps wanting to rush through the movie onto the next scene. Because they just want to get to the next big action scene.
The end fight boss of the video game.
Some of the absolute worst special effects in a big budget movie I saw that year, and in just recent years in general. Even ignoring the obvious, the claws. Everybody points out how horrible.
Oh my god, they're so fake.
Everybody,
they're so astonishingly fake.
It's like the first X-Men movie is 9 years younger, and it was able to make the claws look convincing. And
And his hair
even
looks atrocious.
even ignoring the obvious claw scuffle, you have absolutely horrible CGI, horrible blue screening, and that's even before you get to the final duel up on top the water tower, in which case the budget is just gone at that point, and it's like flat background,
Green screen.
and two actors just standing.
Three. Is that Leaf Schreiber?
Oh, it's like three actors just standing on a green screen with what just looks like a cardboard background and stage they're standing on. And if we thought the overdoing of the mutants in Last Stand was bad,
Oh boy.
this one, I mean, so the stuff in the middle.
Oh, you mean the bottom of the barrel?
The stuff of the stuff in the middle is pretty blatant and obvious, but once you get to the third act, it just goes.
It's like, oh shit, we gotta bring everybody here.
Okay, I can understand the mutants in Stryker's pen, like, they have the Emma Frost bit, and they have, like, a few other mutants you recognize. But why the fuck is Cyclops in this movie? There is absolutely no reason for Cyclops to be in this movie at
And
all.
especially because they have the balls to have him not wear a blindfold for most of the movie, so that he never recognizes Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh,
And then Professor X shows
and then
up.
Professor X shows up. Like,
Walking.
yeah. It's
And then I know everybody talks about the adamantium bullet, but it really is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Deus Ex Machina at its worst.
Now, I'm going to defend this movie a little bit. I recognize it's a bad movie. It doesn't anger me like X3 does, though, because I had no expectations for this.
Yeah.
And Gavin Hood has only made one movie prior to that, which is a really good movie,
It's a
actually.
really good movie.
It's a really good movie, but it's not an action movie.
Yeah.
It's just this movie, it's Universal Soldier.
I mean, certainly Hood has a lot of the blame for the movie being as generic and just
It's a lazy script.
haphazard in its construction, but this really feels like another one of those
Made for TV.
It really feels like another production where 20th Century Fox just came in and basically micromanaged the whole thing to be what they thought would be audience satisfying.
And then you get characters like Agent Zero. They throw
in.
They throw in basically every freaking character possible.
The part when the claws come out and he just goes like, "I think you made him mad."
Speaking of the claws, I gotta say the worst scene in the movie is when he's in the bathroom, and it turns into Def Comedy Jam.
Okay, the bathroom scene is horrible for two reasons. One, the claws, and another thing, in X-Men 2, there's that really affecting and like kind of disturbing scene where you see him running out of the building and first of all, he's naked and he's all covered in blood and he's in immense pain.
You don't see it in this
screaming
movie.
in agony. He comes out of this one like it's just it's nothing. Like, oh look, I have these claws. Shit.
And I'm sorry, this makes Stryker look like the biggest idiot on the planet because wouldn't you wipe his memory before you?
Yeah. Before you changed it.
Yeah, and then you got that. You got Adamantium Bullet. You got the Deus Ex Machina of putting every power together.
How would he have altered his memory, though?
I don't know.
I can just imagine.
There could have been something better than a fucking adamantium bullet.
No, I can just imagine him, before the procedure starts, walking up to Logan, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I have to do this." He pulls out the adamantium gun and shoots him right there, and then he puts him through the procedure.
Let's see. You got that, you got... I'm trying to think of...
Also, not one, not two, but 3 horrible post-credit scenes.
And they all suck.
I don't even remember I don't even actually remember what the third one was, but I know one of them is the Deadpool thing where his head is still alive, and the other one is just Wolverine sitting in a bar in Japan.
Yeah. Then the third one... Oh, the third one was just Stryker walking, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. It was just,
and he gets arrested.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense, because why would he have a job in X2?
Mm-hmm.
It's just... It's got a lot of good ideas, but the problem is the script is all over the place. 2 out of 4 for me. it's nowhere. Actually, no, 1.5.
2. That was generous.
1.5 because I gave X 3 and 1, and I think this is a little bit better in the sense that I wasn't expecting as much. Still a really bad movie, though.
It's a straight up 1 for me.
I give it a 0.5 out of 4.
Wow.
Well, now, since you're actually lower than me, would you care to go into any more detail, or did I cover all the bases?
I think we touched on everything.
You covered so much, but there was so much
there's-
other things I hated. Like,
But there's so much bad.
Well, if you think we're angry here, we're about to watch Bleed Trinity in a bit, and that's like my most hated comic book movie ever.
you hate it worse than, or you hate it more than Batman and Robin.
Yes.
Superman 4.
Yes.
Ooh.
Captain America.
Yes. Electra. Howard the Duck. Anything.
I know you don't hate it more than Catwoman.
No, because Catwoman's not a
stop,
comic book.
Stop it with that. Stop it with that.
Because Catwoman is not a comic book movie.
Just because it completely bastardizes the material.
Yeah, I can't call that a Catwoman movie. All right, let's move on to something good. Please.
Not just something good, something great.
Yes.
So, enter Matthew Vaughn again.
Who was also supposed to direct Thor?
Yeah,
Matthew Vaughn should just have directed every single MCU movie.
he just can't commit, can he? Like, he'll commit every now and then when it's like, okay, you think he's gonna come back, for the next one? Nope. But anyway, he finally comes into the series. He brings the Thor writers, or 2 of the Thor writers with him, and also his usual collaborator Jane Goldman, as well as Bryan Singer coming back to produce.
And basically, this film, they scrapped everything for the most part, with small exceptions.
Yeah.
So we got X-Men First Class, and I have to be totally honest, I thought this was going to suck to high heaven.
I was not expecting.
I went into this thinking it was going to be the worst out of all those comic book movies that year.
It had another rushed production schedule where it started production like less than a year before it was supposed to be released.
Yeah.
Or less than a year when it was released. And I think this is a Fox movie. It's a rushed production schedule. It's an X-Men movie coming after 2 absolutely horrendous ones. I wasn't expecting.
I thought it was going to be the worst, and it was actually the best of those 5 comic book movies that came out that year.
Oh, that year. I was
Because you had Thor, Captain America,
Yeah.
this, Green Lantern, Green Hornet.
not much competition.
And you know what's
with the later
sad?
2.
You know what's sad? Green Hornet is actually better than Green Lantern. I can't believe I just said that.
I know.
I agree now.
Yeah.
So we get X-Men First Class, and Kevin, why don't you go first?
Alright, X-Men First Class blew me away after I walked out. Like, as you guys said, I was expecting it to be bad, considering how the trailers didn't make it look as promising as it ended up being. And the one thing I really liked about the movie was the casting. That was
With a
like
couple of
Michael
exceptions.
Fassbender
Oh, he's
as
awesome.
Magneto is just so good. I wasn't too big on Kevin Bacon.
Oh, I love Kevin Bacon. I love Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon is awesome.
He's hamming it up to the 9th degree, and it's awesome.
I wasn't a big fan of him for this, but
And a German accent on top of that, too.
That disappears.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the action was really good, and I really dug the hell out of the new costumes.
Yeah, I really liked how they were able to incorporate the yellow design of the original costumes while making it still feel like that sort of believableness. It's not complete spandex. It
Can't hide in yellow spandex.
it looks more like a real uniform that you might wear into battle. And I really, even though Magneto and Xavier are obviously the main focal points of this, which as they should
I think
be.
there's 4 main characters.
Well, the Mystique and
Beast.
Okay.
It's a Beast for the second half of the movie.
I think while those 4 definitely get a lot of screen time, as well as Kevin Bacon, I think
I love I'm sorry, I love Kevin Bacon in this movie. It's like classic comic book villain.
Classic comic book villain. He's practically
Slimy.
He's practically indestructible. He's slimy as all hell, and he's banging an absolutely gorgeous and yet blank piece of wood.
Which one? Zoe Kravitz?
No.
The other one.
Yeah,
I don't know. They're both wooden.
Yeah.
But I'd still bang them both.
Speaking of Zoe Kravitz, if there's anything I do have to say about this one...
Why is she here?
No, it's not just Zoe Kravitz. X-Men First Class does not like black mutants. it does not like black mutants at all. You got one guy and then one girl. What does the guy do? The guy is the first one to die. What does the girl do? Immediately after the guy dies, she switches over to the bad side.
And vanishes.
For very little discernible reason.
I mean, think about the time period that this is set in.
Oh, come on.
I knew you were gonna say that. Oh yes, Matthew Vaughn was so aptly portraying the racial prejudice at the time, which really ties into the themes of
I thought
social
it was just
prejudice.
if you want to join the X-Men, don't be black. It's on the sheet when you apply to the school.
Yeah.
Because think about it, the first trilogy, there's no black characters.
Yeah. But what I was actually going to say was the other couple or few characters they have in there, Havoc, Banshee, and I guess I was thinking of Beast before. Even though they're not fully developed characters, they all...
I think Beast is.
They usually, well, no, I mean, obviously Beast is. I was referring more to Banshee and Havoc. They get their moments to shine, even though it's weird. Like Havoc has this awesome power, and you see him use it a lot of times, and he uses a lot of cool parts. And then, like in the final battle, he uses it like a few times, and then he's taken out of the battle.
That guy's not much of an actor.
But
I wish they used Cyclops.
I thought the guy who played Banshee had a lot of really funny parts.
Ron Weasley.
The part when they're trying to teach him how to fly, and
they're on top of the satellite.
No, he goes out the window and he into the bushes. Oh, the scene when he flies off the satellite is awesome.
The only acting weakness I saw in the movie was January Jones.
Yeah.
Not much of an... Beautiful to look at, but not much of an actress.
There's a difference between icily vindictive and just plain and just...
Kick some ice. You wouldn't think they would have thrown in a couple puns.
Moving on.
Really good.
And Red Nightcrawler.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Riptide, who has not one line of dialogue.
No, he really doesn't. He shoots a couple tornadoes out, and that's it.
I gotta say, I love the you get the Bond feel, you get the '60s, you get the Cuban Missile Crisis,
Oh yeah.
and
you also get Michael Ironside as the American general, and that Russian guy as who else? The Russian general.
that Russian guy.
Well, he's like a character.
I know he's almost.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of stuff, and he's usually playing villains, and a lot of times he's a Russian accent.
I gotta say, Michael Fassbender steals the movie. He owns it.
Yeah.
James McAvoy's good. The problem is that Michael Fassbender's so good that he gets overshadowed.
I mean, you could have easily switched his title to X-Men Origins Magneto.
Well, that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
My only issue as far as the movie itself goes was there's some logic. If it weren't for the 2 cameos by Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Romijn,
Yeah.
like the Rebecca Romijn one's fantastic. I thought that was really clever, but I hate the Wolverine cameo. I despise the cameo.
And you're the only one.
No, Eric Cohen doesn't like it because it takes me out of the movie because this is supposed to be its own thing,
Yeah.
and then you bring in Wolverine. And I'm sorry, they established that Magneto was such a badass, he would have gone back into that bar and just beat the shit out of Wolverine. And I would have been totally accepted.
I think...
And then there's that whole thing where the final battle, the sub is like flipping around and stuff, but Kevin Bacon's still standing.
It's true. If I would say why I still like X2 more, it's that
Brian Cox.
Brian Cox definitely makes it. I feel like I think the second movie has a little more room to breathe with what it's trying to do, and it gives equal attention
to the lesser characters,
to its storylines, and just the right amount of attention to them. So it feels like a complete movie. It doesn't feel like anything important was shortchanged. Whereas with this one, there's a few times where maybe if you cut a character here or streamline something here and give a little more focus to the professor and Eric, I think it would have given it a little bit. I mean, it's obviously the relationship between them is the central point of the movie, and it's the best thing about it. I think if it was given a little more attention, it could have had even more impact at the end when the ending comes, which I didn't expect that to happen.
What, him getting shot?
With Xavier.
I knew that was. I had a strong feeling that that's how they were gonna.
I thought they would have kept that until the second movie. Like I didn't expect Magneto to go through his change in this one. I thought they would have set up the friendship between them and then have the betrayal in the next movie.
Yeah.
And then when that, all of a sudden, like, when you see that bullet go in him and he, like, arches back, you're like, huh?
Hey guys, I can't feel my legs. I was like, aw.
Well, like, what? They did that now? It's like, holy shit.
I have no issue with that, because I think once they have their little fight,
yeah,
and then, you know, that's kind of where I got the hint that that's where they were going to end it.
Also, reasoning for the broken back improves on the reasoning for the broken back in the comics.
Oh God, could you imagine?
Yeah, if Lucifer had been in this movie.
Not the real Lucifer, it's an alien. If Satan came up out of nowhere with a Bane mask, I will break you. And I gotta say, I'm not a fan of Beast's makeup. For some reason it did.
You know what it is? The makeup on Kelsey Grammer, it definitely it's very Beast-like, you know, the blue skin, the blue
fur.
The fur, but it still allows for Grammer's facial expressions, whereas this one, it felt like Nicholas Hoult was kind of, I mean,
restrained.
Like, he's great when he's just Hank McCoy, but when he becomes Beast, he feels a little bit constricted by the makeup. Seem a bit quiet over there, Kevin.
I'm just listening.
You stealing any of your points?
Not really, just, as I said, didn't really care for Kevin Bacon in the movie. Liked all the characters. Didn't actually care for Havoc, though. His scenes were a bit cool.
Because he's Cyclops' brother in the comics, and I feel like this movie they could have had Cyclops, and I would have.
Yeah.
I wish they did the original 5 X-Men.
That would have been cool.
Because Cyclops is the leader, Beast is the brains,
Yeah.
Angel is the rich aristocrat, you got Jean Grey as the girl everyone's after, and you got
Iceman.
Iceman as the smartass.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have had Mystique, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah. Speaking of, I can't believe we went through this whole thing. Would you like to talk about Mystique? Because I can't believe we went through the whole thing without mentioning her until this point.
She was hot.
Of course you say, yes. The first thing you say is Jennifer Lawrence is hot.
I don't care for her as an actress much. I mean, my problem with her as an actress is I feel like I'm watching her act. Like, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes it doesn't feel natural. Like this it does, for the most part. But something like Civil Line's Playbook, I felt like I was watching her act at points. It's like, okay, this is going to be my Oscar movie, and it worked, but, you know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kevin is brandishing the pitchforks and pulling out his pistol, wanting to shoot.
I got to meet her,
camera
and she's
right
a very
now.
nice person. Because Hunger Games, she didn't do much for me.
Just,
Because she has no chemistry with Josh Hutcherson.
With the subject Jennifer Lawrence, I don't really care for her as an actress. Overhyped for me. Silver Lining, she was good. Didn't care for the movie as a whole, but that's not the subject.
No! Anyway, just had to let that out. I couldn't keep that in there. What about your favorite sex pun, Winter's Bone? He has made so many Winter's Bone jokes over the years. Like, I'm surprised he hasn't made another one when we mentioned Jennifer Lawrence.
Her and Michael Fassbender should have gotten together for shame.
Yes.
And simultaneously, all guys and girls in the audience just fainted of.
I personally wish Bradley Cooper accepted that sex offer and Simple Acts playbook.
Yeah.
I don't care what he was thinking. I would have taken that.
I know.
Exactly.
I know. I'm like, when he turns it down, I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
Are you gay?
I know.
So we should wrap this
I
up.
don't think. I can't think of any other amazing things we could say about.
3.5 out of 4.
Yep.
Just because I like X2 more. I think it's a little bit tighter.
X2 is a little more fully formed, and there are a bunch of little nitpicks that kind of detract. There's nothing like major, like there's no major problems with the movie, but there is a lot of. Like,
Jerry Moore Jones is kind of a.
well, no, I know, but she's not like a story integral character. Like she's not like an emotional focal point.
Yeah, well, she's got a cold personality.
And
a chilly exposition.
Junior could be my Mrs. Draper any day.
But
She can lick my snow cone anytime.
It definitely feels like there could have been a little.
I could enter her ice.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm not even gonna give you the courtesy of finishing my thought.
Oh, our sex date would be like the Battle of Hoth. There's nothing but snow and walkers all over the place.
Oh my god.
So yeah, 3.5.
3.5.
Okay. Yep. Same with me.
All right, this concludes. Kevin, I'm gonna let you go. I'll see you later.
See ya. That just went off in a direction. I was dreading, and then it kept going. I was like, "Stop it!"
I could have kept going.
It's like, "Stop!"
I gotta find the plate DVD. I think I plugged it. Hold on.
It's the right button, right? This little black stop button.
Yeah.
Okay.